The auto industry is always riding the waves of change. These days, it means making a lot of crossovers. Here's an all-new one, the Hyundai Kona. With it, the South Korean brand is chasing after young buyers with enough money to purchase a new car, a group as mythical as the Hawaiian goddess Pele. Kona is named after an area on the Big Island of Hawaii, which is why Hyundai has brought me here for the press launch. But big is not a word I would use to describe this rig. It's about 4 inches shorter than a Chevy Trax or Mazda CX-3, 5 inches shorter than a Honda HR-V.
Now there's a new category below subcompact. It's called small CUV.
A segment the surprisingly popular Buick Encore kind of created.
That category, which started out with very few contestants just a few short years ago, there was nobody. Now there's a flood of products coming, and these are all first-generation new products.
Small crossovers are a relatively new thing, so the industry hasn't found a sweet spot or copied each other much. Competitors like Toyota CHR, Subaru Crosstrek, and Kona are quite different from each other. The architecture here is new. Hyundai brags it's the only manufacturer that makes its own steel, and over 50% of it in Kona is the advanced high-strength stuff, reassuring in a small car. Kona's base engine is a 2-liter 4-cylinder with 147 horsepower mated to a 6-speed automatic, which was not available to drive on this event. The limited and ultimate models on hand are 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinders with 175 horses and 195 pound-feet of torque available starting at 1,500 RPMs, nice and low. The gearbox is a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic with manual shifting at the console. There are drive modes that sharpen the throttle and transmission dynamics. Kona is a front-drive vehicle, $1,300 buys all-wheel drive, and since it's not exactly ideal vacation weather on the Big Island, I'm glad my tester has it. I knew the forecast, and yet I still brought my sunglasses and sunscreen. Pretty optimistic. Let's see how she launches. The seat of my board shorts, pants, feels 0 to 60 is a 7.5-second trip. A comparison, Toyota CHR takes about 11. There's not a massive amount of power, but it is satisfying. If you have the money, I think the turbo motor is the engine to go with. It's responsive to throttle input with little lag. There's enough power to pass confidently on the island's 2-lane roads. The ultimate model I'm driving has a bright, easy-to-read head-up display that reads better in person. Hyundai, not exactly known for its suspension tuning and handling, but the Kona is pretty good. It's actually kind of fun to drive, especially for a crossover. That's due in part to brake torque vectoring that, in a curve, uses both front and rear inside binders on all-wheel drive models. It only uses the front inside brakes on front drive cars. Kona drives and feels a size larger than it is from behind the wheel. This is a fairly rough road, and the Kona is handling it quite well. It's pretty comfortable. Not normally something I would say about a wheelbase this short. It soaks up moderate bumps and settles down quickly when it does. There are no hula quivers from the solid chassis structure. Keep in mind that my all-wheel drive tester adds a multi-link rear suspension. Front drive Konas use a torsion beam setup in back. So the drive route that Hyundai has us on goes for about 200 miles. I'm about halfway through, and I can tell you, this is a quiet vehicle, especially for the price range. I've been paying close attention to the 7-speed transmission. Always seems to be in the right gear. And notice I said gear. It doesn't have the rubbery elastic quality of a continuously variable unit. It kicks down quickly too. Gasoline may not be expensive where you live, but it is in Hawaii. Adding all-wheel drive drops fuel economy by 3 mpgs. Both the 2-liter and turbo use standard-grade gas and score the same EPA fuel economy average. Driving the turbo engine hard, I'm seeing about 26 miles per gallon on the island's mostly 2-lane roads. Kona may be the shortest in length, but interior room doesn't really suffer. Cabin space is competitive for the segment. Visibility is good, so are the materials that are soft touch where it counts. The door panels are kind of plain, like nearly everything in class. Not all competitors get a sunroof. Ultimate models get heated leather chairs that are comfortable for hundreds of miles. The driver's seat gets power adjustment. For listening to Jake Shimabukuro's amazing ukulele riffs, the Infinity audio system sounds rich, though not overly loud. There's wireless charging if your phone supports it. Like all Hyundais, the user interface is solid with an easy-to-use menu and good touch response. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard, so is a view behind. Hyundai Smart Sense, that's standard on Ultimate models, provides rear cross-path collision warning too. Which brings me to my biggest gripe. Forward collision avoidance with pedestrian detection and lane keep assist, which are part of the Smart Sense safety bundle, is only offered on Ultimate models as standard equipment or as a $1,500 package on the SEL model with the 2-liter engine. It's simply not available on the base SE or limited versions. And while the package includes the necessary hardware for adaptive cruise control, it's not offered. Hyundai execs hinted it might be added to existing cars as a software update. No promises, though. As you can see, I ventured off-road a bit with Kona, even though it wasn't on the drive route. I purposely found a spot that was a little bit more rugged than owners might submit their own cars to. I wanted to see if Kona could handle rough forest service roads, and the all-wheel drive system had no problems. If you intend to take your vehicle off-road a lot, you might look into Jeep Renegade Trailhawk or Subaru Crosstrek. It has more to do with tires and ground clearance, which is 6.7 inches. FYI, I never once scraped anything, even though the nose overhang is on the long side. Remember, Kona, not a huge vehicle, so don't expect epic space back here, but really? It's not half bad. For starters, the seats are mounted high, so thigh support is very good, and there's room under the front seats for my size 11s. There is no power port for back passengers, but at least there's room to stash things here and here. The floor is fairly flat as well. Kia Soul is available with heated seats in back. Kona is not. 2 vacationers and their Pog will have no problems getting comfortable in back. 3 will be pushing it. Ford EcoSport has a door that opens to the side. Kona mercifully has a hatch that I could hide under to stay dry on a rainy day like today. There's a small divided tray under the floor that I removed to show you how easy it is to add a couple inches of cargo room by repositioning this piece. The security cover can lay on the floor, so it doesn't need to be left behind. The back seats simply split 60-40 without the Swiss Army knife ability of the HRV's back seat. Kona's cargo space, with seats up, loses 5 cubic feet to the Honda, but it's 7 cubic feet larger than the Mazda CX-3, surprisingly spacious. Yes, there is a Costco on the Big Island. No, I will not be doing the TP trunk test. It's an hour and a half away.
If it's so small and the wheels are at the corners and the wheelbase is really short, the car starts to look diminutive.
I'm a big design guy, and the event featured Christopher Chapman, who offered insight on what his team was thinking when drawing Kona.
Challenge was to try to create something that fit the lifestyle of this urban adventure visually. And so we sort of took this idea of the lava flow and the mountainous terrain that's involved with the thing, and we sort of incorporated these sort of lines, if you will, that were abrupt and short, belt line like this. And it's sort of this dancing kind of a thing because it has a spontaneity to it. It's an abruptness, and it sort of brings an unpredictability to the car. So the lines create this kind of wonderful thing that connects to the lifestyle of what we feel this client is all about. They're active, they change their mind quickly, they move, they don't know exactly where they're going to go. And we did this thing, and we called it Protect. And it was half technology and half protection. It was sort of very slim DRL up top that looks like the headlight, but actually the headlight array down below.
This area reminds me of the outgoing Cherokee that Jeep recently changed. As far as the name goes, Hyundai execs say Kona was locked in at the very beginning of the design phase. That's unusual in these days of relentless consumer testing. Some colors are available with a black or gray contrasting roof color for $150. In person, the lime twist paint is striking, though Gecko Green might have been a more appropriate Hawaiian name. Where's Lava Orange? Not available, which is too bad. The usual aggressive Hyundai warranty and pricing applies. Base front drive Konas start at $20,450, including destination. I suggest surfing up to the SEL model for $22,100. It adds keyless ignition and the ability to add the tech package with those active safety features. This fully optioned all-wheel drive Ultimate model is $29,650. In short, Kona is a good value, looks right, drives well, and takes on more people and kit than you might imagine from a rig this size. The small crossover segment just got a big kahuna. Now, considering Kia gets its architectures and drivetrains from Hyundai, it seems the third-generation Soul, already spotted in the wild under heavy camouflage, might share more than a bolt or two with Kona. The current Soul is about the same length as this car. It means there's a good chance the next Hamstermobile will get the all-wheel drive it has needed for years. As I explored the island, I ended up at the Waipio Valley, where there's a road to the beach that explicitly says all-wheel drive cars like Kona are not allowed, four-wheel drive only. I decided to walk down and see if it was true. Yes, it's very steep, and a front drive car may not muster the traction to make it up during the rainy conditions I mostly saw during my stay. The Kona, it could handle it though. Until I got to this section. If the water rose any higher, it would be a bad idea to cross this. There you go, that's my look at the new Hyundai Kona. And again, I am at a press event and I'm driving that point home because, well, it's in Hawaii, mostly in the rain, but a lot of people might think that I'm here on vacation or I might be swayed because of the exotic location. No. I am here to talk to marketing people, to engineers, to get a better idea of what this car is all about so I can share that with you. It's not about being on vacation. In fact, actually, I've spent almost all my entire time shooting this car between rain squalls. So there you go. It's a good car. I highly recommend it, and it's not just because I'm in Hawaii. But I do have a half an hour before I catch my flight, so a little pog, a little poke. I'm going to take a half an hour and enjoy this place. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.